We're really excited today to have a guest speaker. I'd like everyone to welcome Lisa Turner. She's our Director of Broker Specialty Services at RPR. She's going to be taking us through RPR, including some of the brand new things that are on RPR that you may not have seen yet. We're really excited to bring her in. Just as a matter of housekeeping, this is being recorded. So please, everyone, go ahead and turn off your cameras. It helps save our bandwidth, but it also helps have a nice clean recording for our training calendar and for our training library. Also, if you have any questions during the class, you can either put them into chat or raise your hand. Our training assistant, Haley, is in the room today, and she will be keeping an eye on things. Hopefully, we can take some Q&A at the end, but if it is something that we need to interrupt Lisa for, we can certainly go ahead and do that if it's something that needs to be answered immediately. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn the room over to Lisa, and hopefully we all enjoy some brand new information about RPR. Thanks so much.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I think I'm sharing my screen. Can everybody confirm, or could somebody just confirm that you're seeing a PowerPoint presentation?
We are seeing your PowerPoint presentation. We're not seeing it in presentation mode, but now we are. Perfect.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I
Thanks.
am happy to be with everyone today. For those of you that are new to RPR, I'm going to show you how to get started. For those of you who are using RPR and familiar with the tools and functionality and the features, hopefully I will teach you just a few things, especially some, as Kristen mentioned, some of the newer features of RPR. So excited to be here today. I'm going to start with a real general overview of what RPR is, just so that everyone kind of has a good foundation and can make sense of this platform. It is vast. It is what my kids call ginormous. But we're going to simplify it. We're then going to kind of drill down to how RPR can help you in your day-to-day business, whether you're working with buyers, whether you're working with sellers, whether you're focusing on marketing efforts or maybe even prospecting. We're going to conclude with resources and training resources that are available to you kind of at your fingertips at any given time. And then, as Kristen mentioned, we'll have a Q&A session at the end. So let's start with what is RPR. In the simplest terms, it's a database. Everyone's familiar with databases. Your MLS system is a listing database. The key difference is that RPR is a parcel-centric database. Okay, it's just a property database that's made up of over 170 million residential and commercial properties. That base layer of the RPR platform is public record. So everything that you can get from your tax program, that's kind of the base layer of RPR. We then integrate data that we're able to acquire. So for example, we've partnered with your MLS and we've integrated that MLS data. We have FEMA flood map data. We have all kinds of additional data that have been integrated into this platform so that you have access to all of this information under one roof. You don't have to go over here to get this piece of information or go over here to get this piece of information. It's all right there for you under the RPR platform. It is exclusively for the use of realtors. You do need to be a member of NAR to access the RPR platform. It is funded through your NAR dues. There is no additional charge to use RPR. I know, some programs out there, they give you a little bit for free, but then they charge you for the rest. That's not the case with RPR. We are entirely member benefit of National Association of Realtors. And then lastly, there's no consumer access. The entire focus of RPR is to give you, the realtor, as much information so that you're knowledgeable when having those important discussions with buyers and sellers and prospects. So that's how you're going to utilize this data. Now, we're not going to go through all of these data points here, but you can see that the way that we utilize this data is really powerful, whether you're searching for properties, you have advanced search functionality, you have points of interest, you have investment analysis tools for any of you that might work with investors, any of you that may kind of dabble in commercial. There's trade area analysis and commercial site selection. We're not going to cover that at all in this session. Just know that there's a commercial application within RPR as well. We have a vast amount of information, and I'm going to say I'm going to focus on the top 3 ways that agents use RPR, and we're going to drill down to this, are to search and research both on and off market properties, to evaluate properties, whether you're getting a real quick reference on what is this property worth, whether you have access to refined value tools or even CMAs within the RPR platform. You also have a reports program. For those of you that have been using RPR, know that we are in the process of sunsetting our legacy reports, and everyone should be using the next gen reports. We're gonna talk about that at length. And then also, there's a mobile platform. It's fully accessible through a desktop site as well as a mobile platform. So all of the features that we're going to be going through and all the research that we're going to be covering today is accessible through your mobile app as well. So make sure you have that downloaded. There's a QR code on the screen. I encourage everyone, pull out your phones for just a moment. Take a picture of this or go ahead and open it up, and you can access some marketing tips that we've made available on the top ways to use RPR. Now, before we jump in, I do want to talk about something, and that is that every parcel in RPR is going to have an estimated value. Okay, we call this the RVM. That stands for Realtor Valuation Model. Now, most of you are familiar with automated valuations, right? The most popular one is referred to as the Zestimate. Now, I want to just call out that every property is going to have a reference value. You either will agree with it or you won't agree with it. It's okay. We're looking at public record data and MLS data to arrive at that value. Most consumer-facing or even realtor-facing models are only using public record data when arriving at that value. And as realtors, we know that it's incomprehensible to rely on public record data because it's so often incorrect. For example, my father was selling a house in Texas. He calls me up one day and he goes, Zillow is ridiculous. Zillow says my property is worth X and it's worth so much more. And I asked him, well, how many, let's start with the basics. How many bedrooms, how many baths? And he goes, Zillow says that it's a 3-bedroom, two bath, but we're really a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. When we remodeled, I said, okay, did you go down to the property appraiser's office and update your records? He said, of course not. Well, therein lies the problem. Public record data was not current, was not accurate, and as a result, it put out an inaccurate value. So what we're able to do is we're able to use that licensed MLS data, that MLS data that's controlled by realtors that is more often correct than it is incorrect, and we're utilizing that data with public record data to arrive at an estimate of value of what this property would sell for today if it were to sell. Okay, you will have refined value tools. Now take a picture of this screen if you want. This kind of highlights the top 10 ways agents are using RPR. We're going to touch on all of these. We're going to kind of bounce around a little bit, but we are going to touch on all of these. Now, it all begins with ensuring that you have an RPR account and you know how to log in. So let me go ahead and minimize my screen. Kristen, I'm going to ask for you to jump in. Just make sure that everyone sees my browser window. Do you? Let me see. You just somebody confirmed that you see my screen? Let's see. Share. screen. All right, everyone should be seeing my screen. I'm going to go to www.narrpr.com. And when you get there, okay, everyone, you access this from your browser, www.narrpr.com. You're going to see a field where you enter your email address and your password. That is your login. If you are unsure if you have an RPR account, what I want you to do is click this button that says create a new account. If you do not have an RPR account, click create a new account and you will be prompted to create an account. If you already have an account and you enter your last name and your email address, the next message would say, you already have an account. If you don't remember your password, you just click forgot email or password and follow the prompts. I know my login, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, where am I? Here we go. Sorry, I have a lot saved. I'm going to enter my email address and my password. I'm going to click sign in. And the very first screen I see is going to be my home page. I want to draw attention to this. In the upper left-hand corner, everyone should be seeing the Berkshire Hathaway Home Services RW Town Realty logo. If you are not, I need for you to let me know. You can put that into the chat window. You can call our help desk. You can send a message to our help desk. You need to, or maybe let Kristen know, let somebody know that you're not seeing the logo. Everyone should be seeing the RW Town Realty logo. In the upper right-hand corner, you're going to have access to your profile. And if you just select that pull down menu, I want everyone to be familiar with this. We're going to click profile. Okay, again, in the upper right-hand corner, we're going to click profile. And this is where we're going to be prompted to add our personal photo and our own logo. Okay, so you can see that I've added the company logo here, but if I had my own logo, I could upload that. I want to verify that all of my contact information is correct. Okay, I'm just going to keep scrolling down. I enter my phone numbers, my fax, my email, my website. Let's go ahead and enter my email address. LisaT@narrpr.com in case anyone has any questions. Most important thing here on your profile, okay, is to make sure that you have selected your MLS that you belong to. So you're going to come in here, you're going to select your state, you're going to come in, you're going to say Virginia. If you're in Virginia, if you're in North Carolina, you're going to select North Carolina, and you're going to select your MLS from the pull down list. In your case, you're going to select Real Estate Information Network, or if you belong to multiple MLSs, make sure they are added here. This is what's going to turn on the filter so that you're going to see MLS data in your account. You're going to enter your MLS ID. We have to validate that you are a member of that MLS before we flip the switch and make that data available. Okay, if your state requires your real estate license number to be on marketing materials, make sure you enter that. If you have any assistants, you can create assistant accounts, and then you're going to save all of your changes. Okay, you're going to click save. You'll get a message that your changes have been saved. Now you have an updated account. Anytime you need to update things here, you're going to come back to your profile. Now, let me point out that you're going to see most likely this little purple message on the screen. This is a reminder of updating your profile. So in my case, it just keeps reminding me that I have not added an MLS or CIE. CIE stands for Commercial Information Exchange. That's because I'm in a demo account right now. And as you notice, when I went through the profile, I did not save an MLS ID for RAIN. So it's incomplete, but that's okay for the purposes of this demo. For your accounts, that would have been checked off and you would not see this message anymore if your profile was correctly set up. Now, let's go to our home page. close this. Now on my home page, we can see this top navigation. This is going to remain consistent on the top of every page. And this is quick ways to get into various sections of RPR. You also have a quick search up here at the top. You can toggle between residential and commercial. So again, for those of you that might dabble in commercial, that's where you're going to access the commercial data. But we're going to stick with residential. You could quickly type in an address or a city or a zip code or a school or a neighborhood and begin your search from there. Or you can start using some of these additional fields, or you can click into your research to perform different types of search. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go into neighborhood search. And I'm going to begin by looking at market trend data, and specifically our AI script writer to help you with marketing to buyers or marketing to sellers or marketing to prospects several different ways. So we're going to go ahead and do a neighborhood search. This is hyper local. We can enter a city, we could enter a zip code, we could enter a neighborhood. I'm just going to go ahead and enter a zip code 23322, which is Chesapeake, Virginia, that I am intimately familiar with as I lived there for 6 years. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to search for this particular neighborhood, and let's take a look at what's happening in this market. We're going to see market trend data. We're going to see some market type. It is still very much a seller's market in Chesapeake, in Great Bridge area. Key details. We're going to see these I call key performance indicators. This kind of talks to the health of the market. There's 3.57 months of inventory, which actually happens to be down from the previous month. Properties are still selling at over list price at the 100.3%. That's actually slightly down from the previous month. The median days in market is 20 and the median sold price 539,000. Now look what happens as I scroll down. I'm going to go into median estimated property value. Okay, we're going to see a graph and we have some additional data here. Now, what I want to do, I'm going to go back into research and I want to look at residential market trends for this particular zip code. So again, 23322, I'm going to select Chesapeake, I'm going to search, and we're going to get slightly different data. Now we're looking at market trends. So again, let's follow my prompts. I went to research. I initially started with a neighborhood search, but I want to go into market trends. So I clicked on market trends. I entered my zip code. And I'm going to show you several different ways that you can get to the same data. But I entered my zip code, and now I have my key performance indicators. But as I scroll down, we're going to see how we analyze new listings that have come up for the month, active listings, at the end. So all of this data is roll up data for the previous month. Let's see, it is August 18th today. So all of this data reflects what happened in the market for July of 2025. We can see at the end of the month, there were 266 properties that were active, okay? Average days on market, 57. New pending listings, 103 properties went pending, average 24 days on market. We have pending, sold, month supply of inventory, and sold public records. If there were any properties that sold outside of the MLS. Now I'm going to scroll back up to the top. I want to point out a couple things here. We have a print button that if you just wanted to create a report of all of this graphical and neighborhood trend, market trend data, you could click print and you could print off those reports. I'm sorry, those charts. If you want to filter and just look at, let's say, single family, and we're going to apply that to all the charts, now our data has slightly changed. If you want, now, if you do not, if let's say you're printing this and you don't want to include this chart, or maybe you don't want to include month supply of inventory. You could, at any time, in any of these charts in the upper right-hand corner, you have those three dots. You can collapse that card. You could collapse that information. Okay, so I just collapse those. Now I go back and I can print. But you also have the ability to share. And each one of these charts and graphs can be shared individually. So maybe we want to share just the new listings chart. Maybe this is a touch point that you're going to include to all of your existing sellers. This might be a great um, PDF or image to send in an email to all of your active listings, showing them how many new properties came on the market in the previous month, right? That represents competition. So there's much more competition, and we all know that the new listings coming on the market are getting all of the eyeballs. So let's go ahead. We also have additional ways that we can share this data. We can share through social media, whether it's on Twitter or whether it's on Facebook or LinkedIn. We can download the images, or we can copy it, okay? But we also have the ability to create scripts. Now look what happens when I click create script. This is where we're using ChatGPT to enable script writing. We have when we create a script, the very first thing we do is select the tone. Now I want to select, let's say, a friendly, casual tone. And we're going to select our audience. Maybe we really want to focus on buyers. So we're going to select buyers. Okay. Actually, let's focus on sellers. So as we're selecting our audience, look at all of these different audiences. When we generate a script, it is going to speak directly to our particular audience. I'm going to say sellers. Maybe I'm looking to prospect for sellers in this area. I have the ability to create a market trends article. I can write a video script, a social media post, or I can generate an email. Let's say I have a database of potential sellers. I'm going to go ahead and click client email and click generate. And what's going to happen, it's going to generate talking points that are using the data within these charts and graphs to explain to sellers, a seller database, months of inventory, sold to list price ratio. Look how it begins. I hope this message finds you well. I'm reaching out with a quick, friendly check-in to keep you updated on local housing market in Chesapeake, Virginia. This information can be quite valuable as you prepare to list your home and consider aspects like pricing, staging, and the speed of your sale. And it goes into great detail about the market conditions. But notice it's using that data within the charts and graphs. Let's go ahead and create a different type of script. Let's choose a buyer audience and social media post. We're going to click generate. And now what's going to happen, it's going to give us multiple little social media blurbs that you can throw out there in your social media, complete with emojis and hashtags as well. Some of these, I don't see any hashtags here, but some of them you will find often have hashtags. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different social media blurbs. Buyers, take note, Chesapeake, Virginia 23322 is seeing homes sell for about 100% of their asking price with a median price of $539,000. This market offers 3.57 months of inventory. You get the point, and it has Lisa Turner and my company name, right? So it includes all of that. Let's look at market trends article. Let's go ahead and click generate. Might take just a moment. There we go. Now we're analyzing the data and putting it into paragraph format. Maybe you write an article for a newsletter. Maybe this is part of your farming. Maybe this is just part of your, when I say farming, maybe this is something that you send to your farm area. Maybe this is a piece that you write for the local newspaper. Whatever it is, this comes as though it's coming from you, right? It is, and you have the ability to edit this in all of these scripts. You have the ability to edit, and then you can copy, export to PDF, export to Word, or you can share by email. So look there, you can enter the person's email address and click send if you're just sending this to one individual person. Okay, let's go ahead and close out of there. So that is the market trend data. Again, remember, this is market activity, roll up market activity for the previous month, right? Let's go back to our homepage. Remember, to access that, we went to research and residential market trends. Take some time, play around with it. Again, that is hyper local data at the neighborhood level. Now here you can all see that I have my markets. This is something that you have to set up yourself. Okay, so you're going to go in and click add or edit. The purpose of having market trends appear on your homepage is to help you with having like a hot sheet for the areas that you work. This is a quick reference of what's transpired in the past 10 days. This is just looking at this chart, or looking at this map, I should say, I can see 38 new properties are available, came on the market. Okay, 38 new properties came available, 5 properties for lease, 39 properties had price changes. And look what happens when I click into price change, it just shows me which properties had price changes. 23 properties went pending, 21 properties sold, 6 for lease, and there are 0 distressed properties. Now notice I also have Jordan Hall in Chesapeake selected as a market area as well. Let me zoom out. Jordan Hall, this is an area, this is a neighborhood in Chesapeake, in Great Bridge. This is this is the neighborhood that I used to live in. Okay, and I'm tracking any changes to this neighborhood, and I can easily see them within my market trends. There have not been any changes in the last 10 days, but if I click through to map search, let's take a look. Now I have a map search for Jordan Hall, and I can see there are 2 properties for sale. Why didn't it show up on my homepage? Because that's just a quick snapshot of what's changed in the last 10 days. When I clicked search, it shows me now all the properties that are currently for sale in Jordan Hall. And I can click on these properties and I can view full detail. So here we have a property. Okay, let's see, this came on the market 10 days ago. So it's just over that, that tipping point. We have all the property information, map location. Here's another way to get to market trends. Look what happens when I click on market trends. So now remember, I mentioned that market trend data was hyper local at the neighborhood level. We're not seeing any data here. Why is that? Because our search area is limited to just Jordan Hall. So be very, very careful when you're selecting your neighborhood to get that market trend data. Okay, just want to point that's just kind of an alert, especially for those of you that are just dabbling around, and if you're trying to get to too hyper local data and there's not enough, right? There's not enough change in the last 30 days, you're not going to see activity there. Let's go back over to that property information. Let's take a look at the data here. So you can see that the property is listed for $699,900. It's a 6-bedroom, 3-bathroom, nearly 3,200 square feet. Now, also note that we have an RVM. That RVM, that is the realtor valuation model. Remember I said every property is going to have an estimated value? There you go. Now, with that estimated value, you're going to see an RVM estimated range. You're going to see how that RVM has changed over the past month. These RVMs are updated twice a month. This was last updated August 16th, so just 2 days ago. Our platform went through a process and reevaluated the estimated price for this property, and we can see that it changed slightly over the past month, but it's a 10% increase over the 10% increase over the year. We also have a confidence score. Now, anytime you need help understanding what this data is, notice there's a little I in a circle. And when you hover over that, it's going to show you a definition of what that means. So under confidence score, it describes the expected accuracy of the property's RVM or AVM estimated value. A 5-star rating is the highest confidence rating, and with 0 being the lowest. Now, this is a 5-star. That means that we are very confident that this property were to sell today, it would sell at 708. This property is listed below that RVM price. That might be something great to point out to a potential buyer. Now, we also have, I'm going to scroll down. Before I navigate away, if you're like me, the very first thing I'm going to do is question, well, what properties were used to arrive at that value? You will always have the ability to click through that RVM. I'm going to click view details here, and it shows us all of the properties that our algorithm used in a map view and a list view to arrive at that value. Some people refer to this as a CMA. I do not, but it is entirely up to you because, again, we're looking at active and we're looking at closed or sold property. So let me go ahead and close out of there. Let's scroll down a little bit. Now we have all of the photos that are in the MLS. I can expand and make them larger. I can swipe through, or not swipe, I can click through. If you're on your mobile device, you'd be swiping through. Okay, so we have all the exterior photos. We should be getting to the interior. There we go, the interior photos. All right. Let's scroll down. Now we have pricing tools, right? List price $699, RVM 708. We have the ability to create a CMA. Now we can get to CMA here, or we can get to CMA here. I'm going to show you CMA when we look at an off-market property. So just kind of put that on the back burner for now. Refine value. We're going to go ahead and click refine value, and we can see that there are several ways that you can refine that estimate. Maybe this property had an upscale bathroom remodel and it was $50,000, right? They were put in a really nice value, really nice bathroom. I'm going to go ahead and click update facts. Oops, sorry, I put that in the wrong place. Bathroom remodel, 50,000. We're going to enter the date that that upgrade was made. Let's say 2022. They put in beautiful new master bath. We're going to click add improvement. Forgive me. Oh, I forgot to select the date. 2022, July of 2022, $50,000 bathroom. We're going to click add improvement. And look, that gives us a $15,000 value for what that bathroom is worth today. This is going to be very important when you're talking about how much those improvements should be valued when you're working with both buyers and with sellers. But look at this, it increases the value of that property by $15,660. Maybe this property needs a new roof, right? So if I'm working with a buyer and it needs, in reality, this is a newer property. It shouldn't need a new roof yet, but let's just say it did. And a roof for a property of this size is $20,000. Look what happens here. I put in $20,000 for needed improvements, and it takes that value, takes all of the refinements, all of those changes, associates it with the original estimate, and now it brings down my refined value to 704. Okay, maybe this is a great way to show in an offer to a seller, right? Maybe you're working with a buyer and you're making an offer, and you go through the needed improvements and you put it in black and white and what those improvements are going to be required for the new buyer. Maybe that'll help get your offer accepted by showing the seller what needed improvements and how that affects value. All right, let's go back to our property information page. As we scroll down, you can see description of the property. We have map. We also have a map location tool up here, right? So this is the property that we're working with. Remember, there's a property for sale across the street. Well, let's just say this is a property that that your buyer is interested in, but they also want to know what's going on, what other properties are for sale right around here. They really like this neighborhood. Well, remember we saw the one across the street. Well, here's one that recently closed. As I zoom out, I can see, oops, I zoomed out a little bit too far. I can see all of the properties around, and any that have a blue circle are going to be for sale. Blue square represents recently sold. There is a legend right here in the map. Okay, now in the immediate area around this property, there's only one other property for sale. But notice all these gray squares. Anytime you're in a map view in RPR and you see those gray squares, the gray square represents a property, and you can see the estimated value for that property. So let's just say you're looking at this data on your mobile device. Let's say you're showing a property to a buyer and it's 700,000, and you're out and you pull up this map on your mobile device because they see the house across the street is for sale. Well, if they start asking questions like, well, God, I wonder what that home is worth, or how that home is worth, or in your talking points with them, you can show them estimated values for the nearby properties, right? So think about ways you can use this dialogue, this data in your dialogue. Let's go back to that property detail page, okay? Notice here we have property facts, and we have a column that you can make your changes. You have the ability to add notes, but look what happens. I'm going to go scroll. I'm just going to keep scrolling on this page because I want everyone to kind of grasp the depth of data that we have here. We have interior features, and notice that we have data coming from the listing, but we also have data coming from the public record, okay? So it's, again, aggregated under one roof. It's aggregated at this parcel level. We have exterior features and public, or the listing and public. We have the legal description for this property. We have the schools, right? So there are actually two columns for schools here. We have what has been entered into the listing, okay? And then we also are using our school zone boundaries to identify what this property is zoned for. So a lot of times, sometimes you might find some inaccuracies in the MLS. So notice this agent, way to go, you've got the data correct. We can see the school information, you can see the rating of the school, and you could actually click through and get complete information about that particular school. Let's say the buyer wants to be in Great Bridge because they heard they have the best schools. Well, the high school is a B+. When they are curious about what the total enrollment is, you can see Great Bridge High has 1,624 students, 15-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio, 25% in the school free lunch program. You can see average GPAs. All right, let's go back home. Oops, forgive me. I'm going to scroll down. I want to go to, because I had clicked away from our property. Notice what I did there. I just went back to the home page. I scrolled down and we have, oops, let me go back to the home page. So I went to my home page. Remember, I have my market area. We scroll down and I just went to my property. So this is kind of like a bread trail trum. I went to recent properties. I clicked view, and the most recent property that I viewed in the platform would appear at the top of the list. Now, if you're using your RPR mobile app in the field, all of your activity in the mobile app is going to be fully integrated into your desktop site. So if you pull up a property, let's say you're out with a buyer, you're driving around, they see a for sale sign, okay? They want to know if that property is already pending or if it's available, and you pull that property up in your mobile device. Guess what? That's going to show up on that list from your homepage. Okay, but you'll be able to see the status of that property. You'll be able to contact the listing agent and ask how solid is that contract, right? If it's available, maybe you go ahead and schedule a showing appointment right then and there. All right, let me scroll down. Again, we were just on the cover page. We got to the school section. Here we have owner facts for the property, listing history for the property, public record history. This is it's going to show us all the times that this property was sold all the way back to the land. Okay, notice in 2014, it was actually sold to Thomas Bishop. It was a new construction from MCQ Builders, and that is when the property was built. It looks like there was an interfamily transfer in 2021. Anything that's been recorded at the courthouse is going to appear here under deeds. All the tax data year by year, so you can see those tax values, how they've changed from year to year, and sales and financing activity. You can look at a 1-year histogram, 2-year, 3-year, or all. It's been very limited activity. This home is currently still owned by the original owner that purchased it from the builder. Now we have in list view now the data that would be represented within the chart, estimated value chart, and so on and so forth. So that's just the property detail page, okay? And that is, you can create go ahead and we're going to create a report. Let's say we've got a buyer interested in this property. I'm going to go ahead and click create report. Excuse me, let me take a sip of my drink. And maybe this is a property that I want to showcase for a particular buyer. I'm going to create it for Turner and click continue. Now I'm going to be dropped into my buyer report. Now, for those of you that have been using RPR, take note. We have transitioned from the old report platform to the new report platform. Okay, we have new templates for all of our reports. The advantage is that they are now fully customizable, and you will always see a live preview of the report in your main window. You no longer have to run the report and decide which elements you do not want included. Notice here we have a report, and I'm going to see right off the bat, this is a 15-page report. Well, let's think about how we could make that a little bit smaller. Well, maybe we could remove all of the photos, or maybe we could just want to select which photos we want included, okay? Let's go ahead and we're going to go back to our elements, and you can see how we can maybe make this more valuable. Maybe we want to include school details, right? So we've just added that. Pricing summary, maybe we created a CMA and we want to include that. So we're just looking off this left-hand side, we have all of the sections of the report, and we're just going into each section and selecting what we want included. Maybe we have custom pages. Maybe you've added your own custom pages so that you can include them in your report. Well, maybe you want those custom pages to appear higher in the report. You can reorder all of the elements of this report. Maybe you don't want the RPR cover page. Maybe you have your own cover page. You can choose to remove that from the report, and look what happens. Now you don't have a cover page. So let's go ahead and add that back in. Let's go ahead and add in an aerial view and a road map. Okay, this will actually display when the report's generated. I am going to leave the photos in there. And notice all along what's underlined here. You'll always look at the top of the page for your navigation. We are in our report editor. I'm going to go ahead and click download. When you download this report, it's going to build the report. It's actually going to generate it. Let me go back. While it's being generated, let me show you. You also, remember, we took time to personalize this template. Maybe this is a template that I want to use for all of the reports I generate for the Turners. I can go ahead and click save, and now save that as my own template. You can have up to I want to say up to 30 templates in your account. Maybe you want to go ahead and share that report. When you click share report, you have the ability to copy a link to that report, email, or share it to social media. Maybe this is a new listing that you just got and you want to showcase that on social media. Let me share something with you, and this is very, very important. The idea behind these reports now are that they are dynamic. Okay, they automatically update every 48 hours. So if this is my new listing and I've shared it to social media, and at the time it was listed at $699.9, but tomorrow I update that listing to $650, well, guess what's going to happen? The following day, when somebody clicks on that, they're going to see the current price, not the old price. That's a big difference between having dynamic data and static data. Now, I ran a report. This is the end result. It's a 20-page report that I want to get into the hands of my buyer. This is being generated. It's in PDF format. I can print, I can download, or remember, I can go back and I can share from the platform. I'm going to go ahead and click on reports because I want everyone to see the new structure of the reports. All right, so I clicked on reports. Remember, let me show you another way to get there. Homepage, reports. We have my reports. These are reports that I've previously run. And I can see that I have one for the property that we just viewed. I ran a neighborhood report for Great Bridge, and I ran a seller's report. Okay. I have RPR report templates. This gives you access to all of our existing templates. We've already gone through the elements and selected what we think should be in that report. However, this is also where you view my templates. I could go back, I can click to access my templates here. I could have just scrolled down on the page, or I could click reports, my reports and my report templates, and see all of the reports that I've generated. I'm sorry, all of the templates that I have generated. Okay, that's the biggest, for those of you that are using this feature, the biggest mindset difference should be reports versus templates. A template is just a template. It is how the report, it is what generates the report. The report is the output. It's the finished product. For our residential report templates, we've got a seller, a CMA, a marketing activity, a school, a buyer, a property flyer, and a neighborhood, right? Maybe you want to create a market trend report or a market analysis report. You could go ahead, go to my report templates, and you can create one. Or you can start, you have to start in a report and refine it. All right, let's go home. Now I want to show you some search features, okay? Let's say we are, I'm going to change this. We are working with a buyer who is interested in zip code 23322. We're looking for active properties in 23322 zip code. Okay, I have 297 properties for sale. Let's go ahead and narrow that down, and let's say minimum price 400, maximum price 600. See, and now we're going to rerun our search. No properties were found. Good to know. All right, let's go ahead and increase now. Oh, you know what? Forgive me. This should show 400,000. I don't know if it's not working. There we go. Let's rerun our search. Okay, now we have properties. Sorry about that. I'm going to make note of that because that should have automatically identified that we were looking in total price there. Now we have 162 results from 400 to 700,000. Let's say this is the area that they think they're interested in. And this is a huge help, right? I could also come in here and say, you know what, I've got a buyer and they want Great Bridge, right? This would have been a huge help for me when I was relocating to Virginia. I had no idea about the area. Everyone kept telling me that I wanted to live, that the place to live was Great Bridge. I can actually search by neighborhood and pull up properties for sale in Great Bridge. This orange highlighted area represents the neighborhood. Now I could also come in here and let's say we are this is our farm area. Let's go ahead and look for potential sellers. We're going to go to change that to public records, property type, price. We're going to rerun our search. Too many results, more than 5,000 properties in this area. Let's go ahead and refine and add some additional filters. Let's say that the average home sells here every 3 to 5 years. So we want to come in here and we want to select owner occupied, people that have been in their home for let's say 0 to 5 or 5 to 10 years. We're going to click update and search and see what happens. Yep, we have 2,516 properties. Let's filter that a little bit more. Maybe we want to target the, let's just narrow that down to 0 to 5 years. Update and search. Now we have 1,408 properties. Okay, we will always display 500 at any given time. Let me show you another way to do this. Let me go home. Okay. Remember, I had Jordan Hall, just that particular neighborhood. Maybe I want to send a mailer to homeowners in this neighborhood. Remember, I'm going to go to map search. It defaulted to for sale. Maybe I just want to look at public records. I'm going to rerun that search. Here we go. We have 83 home sites in Jordan Hall. What does this red mean? It means in distress. It means foreclosure. Okay. 83 properties. I want to go ahead and create mailing labels. So those 83 properties, I want to customize. I choose the layout. It's either CSV, PDF, or Avery if I want to go ahead and create those mailing labels then and there. I want to go ahead and address it to the property, the owner name. I had selected all owner occupied, so that should all that appears here. But maybe I want to go ahead and select owner name and or current residence unless it is still rented. And I want to go ahead and click print. When I click print, it's going to generate my mailing labels, and there you have them. Okay, all 83 mailing labels that I could go ahead and print on Avery label paper. All right, so that's one way that RPR helps you farm. Let me show you, I'm going to go into one more thing before we wrap this up and I take questions. Let's say that we are preparing for a listing presentation. Okay, listing presentation. Got a phone call from a homeowner at 1307 Clubhouse Drive. I'm going to start typing in the area, the address. All I did is I went to that search field at the top of the screen. I started typing in the address, and RPR automatically tries to identify which property I'm searching for. Here it is. It's in Chesapeake, Virginia. Here's that property. It's off market. We can see it last sold for $450,000. The RVM, quick reference. Hey, RPR says this property is estimated at $842,000. Let's go ahead and refine that value. Okay, remember, I have the ability to add changes. Maybe it's a 4.5 bathroom and Public Records only has it as a 4-bedroom. I know this property had a major kitchen remodel, mid-range. It was completed in 2023, June of 2023, and it was $75,000. I'm going to go ahead and click add improvement, and we can see how that is going to affect value of that property. 27,000. Maybe this property needs a new deck. And the new deck is probably $20,000. We're going to go ahead and click add improvement. And you can see that now our refined value is $849,860. We can also refine by market conditions. Remember, this is still very much a seller's market here. So let's go ahead and say that it's above average for local market conditions. The home exterior, I drove by and they have a beautifully landscaped yard. The home interior condition, we don't really know that yet because maybe we haven't been inside. The lot size was nice. The view, it actually had a pond view. So we're going to go ahead and slide that slider up. Privacy, we'll just go ahead and say is equal to nearby properties. And we're going to go ahead and see our total refine changes come to 897,367. We're going to go back to the property information tab. And look what happens underneath here under my pricing tools, I have refined value. We're going to go ahead and click create a quick CMA. I just want to have something in hand to show that potential seller what other properties are listed for and what other properties have recently sold. So we're going to come in here to our CMA. We have a CMA or an advanced CMA. We're going to stick with the comparative analysis, which is a kind of a quick and out the door approach. I'm going to click find comps. In this, it's going to show me a map search. I'm going to go ahead and search for comps, and it shows me in the map view and a list view nearby properties, right? Just for the purposes of this demonstration, I am just going to select all of these properties as comps. If you ever see a blue star, that means our algorithm used this property in the RVM. So I'm going to go ahead and click update valuation and close. We selected our comps. The result of our CMA is 908,987. We can edit that if we want, or we can leave it as is. I'm going to just leave it as is. I want to create a report, and we're going to create a seller template. And I'm going to just type in Young seller report. Young is the homeowner's last name. Click continue, and it's going to generate the report. First thing it's going to do is going to drop me into the template. Okay, it's going to drop me into that report editor. I can see the report, all of the elements. I can edit the elements over here, or I can click that little trash can in the upper right hand corner. I'm just going page by page. I'm going to click download. That report is going to run, and we're going to see the finished product. We're going to see it there. Or remember, we can save or share within the platform. Okay, now remember, this is a report that's still being built for this potential seller. This is something that I might want to take into my listing presentation with me. Okay, let's go back to that property. I'm just going to scroll through, and again, all of that information, as much information as we can gather for this particular property, we've integrated into this parcel record. All right, so hopefully you can see no schools are listed because it's not a listing. We're using niche, however you want to pronounce it, data to show which school this property is zoned for. Okay, we can see a complete history for this property as to how the estimated value has changed over time. All right, I know I'm scrolling through this. I've a lot of information that we've covered today and different ways to use RPR. I want to now drill down and just show you real quick how you can get help at your fingertips. I want everyone to write down blog.narrpr.com. This is where you're going to go to access articles that you might find helpful. We have industry segments. I want to point out the Learning Center. We have webinars available, live webinars almost every day of the week. We have tutorials, video tutorials by topic. So we've already selected tutorial. We can choose if we want to work with the broker tools, commercial or residential. We're going to select residential. Topics. Maybe we want help with that CMA, right? We're going to just drill down, and here we have a video that helps us with our CMA. Okay, it just shows us where to access that help resource. So we have all of those learning resources. We have printable help guides, which are, if we have any managers joining us today, these are great for your agents. These are printable guides for every feature of RPR. Let's come in here, and maybe I want to have a printable to share with the CMA, or maybe I want a printable for the market trends script writer, step-by-step instructions on where to find and how to use that feature. Okay, so with that, let me come back over to Teams. Again, I know we went a little bit over on time. I want to see if we have any questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to go into questions. Looks like we had a lot. All right, so it was a question about how to, I think, how to access help resources. I know an apartment, but with simple ownership, right? Not apartments for rent. Correct. These are, if there were condos for rent and they were listed in the MLS, they would appear within RPR, but not apartment buildings. Okay. We want to see if there are any other questions that we have. Please, you can raise your hand or you can include a chat. I know I covered a lot of information, so I apologize if this was a little overwhelming, but hopefully it gave you some insight into different ways that you can utilize RPR in your business. Again, different ways, whether you're working with buyers or working with sellers or, all right.
All right. Thank you so much, Lisa. This has been some great information here, and this was amazing. Just as a reminder, this will be available in our training library, which is available on RWT Connect. Give us a couple of days to get this up and running and there, but you can also check out all of those learning blogs and those tutorials and things like that in the meantime if you have any questions. As always, if you have any questions about anything, you are welcome to contact us at websupport@rwtown.com. We can help you with your account. We can point you in the right direction for some other resources or other training if you need it. Hopefully you guys have a successful week, and thank you so much for coming. And thank you again, Lisa.
Thank you so much for having me. Take care, everyone.